Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. It's Friday. It's good to be with you on a live music Friday. I love how Fridays have evolved here at our I Love CVille studio as we welcome you to the weekend, as we put talented local and regional musicians in the spotlight. We've had a lot of success the last handful of Fridays of doing this, and we're going to continue to do it because I think of any day of the week, Friday's the day to showcase live music and musicians across the Commonwealth, across the Eastern Seaboard, and across, frankly, the country. Why we like doing that is because it really kind of sets the tone, the pace, and the tempo for you guys as you head into your Friday evening shenanigans and your Saturday tomfoolery and your Sunday fun day. My name is Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille Show. Thanks to the good people at Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. For 4 generations, one business has been your pest control, home services, leader, and I'm talking across the Commonwealth. It started in 1969 with one man who had a vision to start his own company. He literally had one truck, and when he was done servicing his first customer, he would go to the next customer, and before he did, he went to a phone booth, called them up on the phone booth and said, "May I come to your home now?" Today, it's 4 generations strong with an office in the Shenandoah Valley, the headquarters right around the corner from Boden's on Harris, now in Richmond, Virginia, and a Commonwealth-wide footprint. The kind of stories we love to celebrate here at I Love CVille. We also love to celebrate the good doctor, Scott Wagner, Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Who's got your back? Dr. Wagner's got your back. Whether it's physical therapy, whether it's sports medicine, whether it's chiropractic care, this gentleman is changing people's lives at Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Our advertising agency, VMV Brands, is the advertising agency of record for both Intrastate and Dr. Wagner. And we are proud to represent these businesses because they are going about it the right way. Harris Tolber's our director, Judah Wickauer and Laura and Linsky, producers of this fantastic program. 4 people work hard to put this show together. All we ask in return is a like and a share. And I thank Harris Tolber on that note, my friend, my amigo, my pal, my chum, my homie. I think you need to go to the studio cam, and let's welcome Eli Raybon to the set. Eli, que pasa, Chico? How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's truly a pleasure.
I'm excited.
We're going to have 5 originals from Eli played. We're going to talk about the stories, the inspirations, and the influences behind each. Before we do, I'm going to get out of the way.
Okay.
And I'm going to put the spotlight on you.
Oh, boy.
And the question that we ask all our guests, the first question, is the birth story.
The
evolution of the man or the woman, the passions, the hobbies, the interests, how they got to this point as a musician, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, whatever it may be. Eli Raybon's birth story. Show is yours, sir.
Well, we'll just start from the beginning, my birth. And I just want to start there because it's interesting. I've moved around quite a bit in my 21 years. I was born in Ohio. After about a year and a half, my family moved to Mississippi, then to another part of Mississippi, then to Louisiana, back to Mississippi, one more time in Mississippi, then to North Carolina, Louisiana. Well, we were in North Carolina for 10 years, so I was there a long time. Then back to Louisiana. I moved to LA. My family moved to Virginia, and then eventually I moved to Virginia. So that is how I got here, geographically speaking. In terms of my evolution as an artist, that's an interesting story as well, I guess. I started playing music when I was 12. I went to my dad. I grew up around music. My dad has always been a guitar player, big music guy, ton of CDs. So I've had music of all kinds playing since I was, since before I could walk. And when I was 12, I went to him and I said, "Hey, Dad, I want to learn to play guitar today," thinking this would be like a few hours and I would be, jamming out. But it didn't actually take that long. So 6 months later, I started a punk rock band.
Punk rock?
Yeah, punk rock. So
okay.
I started out when I was 12 playing, the Ramones and stuff like that. And our band kind of had the cute factor.
Okay.
We could play, but we were also cute. So we booked all of the local fundraisers and charity events and stuff like that. I mean, we were playing at least a show a month. So I got into performing relatively early and kind of got used to getting up in front of people. But I didn't start to take music very seriously until I was about 16. Is when I really started to want to be good. It's like I want to write great songs. I want to, be an artist. And so that's when I started taking it more seriously. And, from there, it's been a slow development. I sort of started with what I knew. Everything was guitar based, and I just started writing songs. And like everyone else, my first songs were really bad, and then they started to get better and better. And as I was about to graduate high school, or I did graduate high school, and I had always been a school person.
Okay.
I was a total, I always just call myself a geek, which is kind of like a cool nerd, maybe.
Yeah.
So, right.
That.
Right. So that's the difference. A geek is a cool nerd. So, I was all about, math and computer science and stuff like that. That's what I was genuinely interested in. And so I graduated high school with plans to go study math and computer science in New York. But over that summer, it just seemed like I was gearing up to pursue more music as opposed to go into study. I didn't spend the summer brushing up on trigonometry. I spent it writing songs and playing shows. And so 2 days before freshman orientation, I won't go into the details of this story, but we'll just leave it at 2 days before freshman orientation, I decided to take a gap year and defer my enrollment. So I sent an email. It was a Monday. I was supposed to be in New York on a Wednesday. So it was a very last-minute gut decision, but I had kind of
That's ballsy.
It is, but the thing is, I was basically asked 2 days before I was supposed to be at school to rethink all of my decisions. So it was kind of a lot, It's like, and I wasn't expecting it. I had plans to go to New York, and then all of a sudden, I have the option to rethink things. So, I went with my gut. Like I said, I felt like I had been preparing to go and make an album and not go and study. And so, when that opportunity presented itself, I went with it. And so,
I love it.
Yeah, so I met a local recording engineer who was in South Carolina, actually. So I lived in North Carolina, but we lived right on the border.
Okay.
So I went to high school in South Carolina, actually. It was about 10 minutes away, So I had a lot of friends and connections in South Carolina. So I met this local recording engineer in South Carolina. We really hit it off, and we started to record an album. And that album was all mainly acoustic based.
Okay.
We did bring in some awesome studio musicians to work on it as well, which it was the first time I had ever played with session musicians, and it was a great experience because I had been so used to working on music alone. It was a solo thing, and having other people involved makes the music interesting for me to listen to because they put a little bit of their DNA,
their perspective,
and their feel onto the music. And so that was it was a great experience, and I think we recorded it over a 4-month period, and that's what really lit the fire in me. It's like, wow, I want to make more records. I want to do this as much as I can. I love this. It's such a satisfying feeling to write something, to create something in your brain, and then bring it into reality. And from there, my family, like I said, we've moved a lot. So when I was about halfway done recording the album, my family moved to Louisiana, which was about 13 hours away from the studio that I was recording at in South Carolina. And we were only halfway done with the album. So I basically couch surfed with some buddies for,
How long?
I think 2 months.
Get out of town. 60 days of couch surfing?
Yeah,
that's nomadic as hell. I love it.
Yeah, and I think that one theme or motif you'll find with me is that and I'm not sure if it's just because I've moved so much or because or what, but if I'm in one place for too long, or if I'm doing the same thing for too long, I get a bit restless, and it feels like it's time to do something else. And kind of what comes along with that is, things like couch surfing and just doing things that might otherwise seem uncomfortable are actually very exhilarating to me. So the idea of, I'm 13 hours away from my family, couch surfing and finishing an album, and at the time I was 17. That was just great. It was fun. And the people I stayed with were awesome. They were into music as well. And so I would actually go to my recording sessions during the day and then go back to their house and we would record. We were working on like a side project. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That was a great first answer. Sizzle reel that whole first answer.
Wow.
You got a lot of people watching right now. Wendy
Awesome.
Turley
Okay.
says, I love this. Let's say Karen Campbell Wright says hello.
Okay, I recognize all of these people.
Anita
Thank you so much for watching.
Burgess, she says, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
You got somebody in your family watching. Tina Leonard Raybon, is that?
That's Mom.
That's Mom Dukes. Ma
yeah.
Dukes is watching right now.
All right.
And Anita says, I've been following Eli since he moved here. Very talented. Anita, thank you for joining us. Guys, like and share the stream. Whatever Facebook page you're watching, give it a like and give it a share to put the spotlight here on Eli. That would really mean a lot to me. Savannah Diaz says, it's Savannah from Musically. That's what Eli would remember me from.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so that's funny. I have my experience in doing live streams was I was on this app called Musically.
Okay.
Which is the age demographic for that app is it tends to be very young.
Right.
And most of the influencers or whatever you call that use that app tend to be a lot cooler than I am.
Stop.
You know what I mean. They tend to be the smooth, attractive, pop star looking people. And so I was totally the odd man out on there, but the app picked up on it. I was going live and playing these weird original songs and just kind of doing my thing, and the app started to promote me. So all of a sudden I'm I'm streaming to I think the highest number that I ever hit, the highest number of people in a stream was like 12,000.
Nice.
And I'm just like, what is going on?
Baller.
And I had a lot of fun doing it. It was weird because I never really felt at home on the app. I didn't really feel like it was my scene, but I met a ton of amazing people on there that still follow me to this day. So it was awesome. So Savannah, big shout out to you. Thank you for watching.
I'm going to get Harris Tolber in the mix here shortly, Harris, so get ready. I got to ask you about the goggles. You know what? Your look is unique. It's fresh.
Thank you.
It's fearless.
It is fearless.
You're not afraid to show vulnerability. Be yourself.
Right.
Bring your personality and put it in front of thousands of people. I mean, you embody, and I could tell as soon as I walked in. You embody. This is me. I don't care if you like it or not. This is what I am.
Absolutely.
And this is what I'm going to do.
I'm glad that it comes across like that.
It's great. It's authentic.
I think it sets a tone too. It says a lot about me without me having to actually say it. I don't know. No one's ever said that to me before. I'm flattered.
It's
Thank
true.
you.
It's true.
But yeah, these are my sci-fi space racer goggles. And some people when they're going to be on a podcast like this, they may want to make sure their hair is looking good and. My hair very rarely looks good, so I just I take the easy way out, throw on the sci-fi goggles, and I'm good to go.
Taylor, I'm going to relay this to Eli. Taylor Lee Cox says, way to go, man. Eli, you're looking great.
Thank you. Yeah, I went to high school with her.
Like and share the stream, guys. Harris Tolber, my friend. Jump in here, baby.
All right. Yeah, I think what Eli said about collaborations. I love that's my favorite way to make music is with somebody else, because like you said, it's like they're putting their own little sprinkle of their own creativeness into the mix, and it's like something new and fresh that you haven't heard. One thing I wanted to ask you is you recently played South by Southwest, right?
I did, yes.
Yes, and I was wondering if you could describe the festival as a whole and what the experience was like.
For sure.
If I think that a lot of upcoming independent artists describe it as like a kind of a stepping stone, like
definitely.
Definitely. So maybe just open-ended question about if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just ramble on. And yeah, just disclaimer here. I'm sure at some point during this, I'm going to launch into some sort of artistic rant. So just bear with me.
There's no rules
exactly.
here.
I love this.
No rules. No commercials.
Yeah.
We can go as long as we want. No rules.
I love it. So yeah, South by Southwest. It was definitely a huge stepping stone, a huge break for me. I had gotten a free application waiver from someone that I work with who said, you know what, send in an application. And when I first got it, I didn't really think I was ready. I didn't think I had the numbers. I was I had just finished a new album, or I was working on a new album, but it was completely different than anything I had ever done before. So I didn't really have any way to show them what my showcase would be like. And I knew what it would be like. It's like, well, I'm going to go and dress up as a mad scientist with this weird battery brain contraption and go up and sing these fun sci-fi songs. But I didn't have any photos of me doing that. I didn't have any proof that that was even a real thing. It just kind of existed in my head. But I sent in an application and I spent a lot of time on it. I really, I don't tend to do things halfway. If I'm gonna apply for something,
you go balls to the wall.
Yeah. If I'm gonna apply for something, like I want to get it. So I spent a whole night. I spent like 4 or 5 hours just really trying to write a really good. I basically wrote my whole life story down and and got all the demos for my album together and sent it in, and then just forgot about it. And the holidays rolled around. I was in Mississippi visiting family for Christmas, and got back early January. I think it was January 2nd, and I get a message from someone in South by Southwest that's like, "Hey, this is really cool. I like what you're doing. Do you have any updates? Is anything going on? I would like to have you at the festival." And a few weeks later, I got an official confirmation, and it was really just like, oh, wow, that's
big
happening.
Time, dude.
It was, because up until then, and I'm sure we can get into this more, but I had only ever played acoustic shows. And my recorded music after my first album, started to move away from being all acoustic. And I still wrote everything on the acoustic guitar, and I can still play everything on the acoustic guitar, but the recordings are not acoustic. And so I had always just been playing acoustic shows, but for this, for South by, I really wanted to go all out and do a show with analog synthesizers and a drum machine, and do a show kind of like I've always wanted to do, but just have never been given the opportunity or the platform to throw down with it. So when I got the confirmation, it was a little bit of, it was a bit overwhelming. It was like, I've never done this before, and I've been saying for like the past 3 years that, oh, I would nail a show like this. I would have so much fun, and it would be awesome, but I've never actually done it. So I had to get my act together, quite literally. And so I spent about a month doing that. And when I left for the festival, I was confident. I knew it was going to be fun. And so about the festival, I mean, it's
you're getting a ton of feedback coming in here. Keep going. I don't mean to interrupt you here.
No, well, that's good to hear though. So the festival, it was in Austin, Texas, the South by Southwest Music Festival, and it's not just a music festival. It's a film festival, technology, gaming. Yeah. Basically anything cool is at this festival.
Right.
Absolutely. So, there's just so much going on, and the numbers are crazy. It's something like 500,000 people pour into Austin every year for this huge festival of culture and art, and so, it was crazy to be there and just to feel the energy. When I got there, I actually got there at like 2:30 a.m. is when I pulled up to my hotel in Austin, and it was still popping. There's still people walking around everywhere, still music being played. It just kind of never stopped, and that set the tone. I mean, after a long day, I think 16 hours in the car, I got to South by Southwest. I was completely tired, completely worn out, but I couldn't help but walk around a little bit and just take it all in. It's like, wow, I'm playing at this festival, and it's 2:30 in the morning, and there's still people everywhere.
Wendy Turley wants to know, how much sleep did you get at South by Southwest?
Not very much.
You pulled. It sounds like you went on a bender.
Well, all of the moving really helped me out, because when my family was in Louisiana, but I've spent the last 10 years in the Carolinas. All of my friends, all of my connections are all in the Carolinas, so I got used to making the 13-hour drive from Louisiana to North Carolina to Louisiana on a semi-regular basis, once every 3 or 4 months. And then when I moved to L.A., from Louisiana, that was a 26-hour drive that I did over 2 days. And then when I moved from LA back to Virginia, that was a 40-hour trek that I did over 4 days, 10 hours a day. So the long car rides I've gotten used to. As far as sleep goes, Yeah, it was a pretty restless couple of days, and as I'm sure you can imagine, it's like
your adrenaline is pumping.
Right, I've been building up to doing a show like this for a long time. It's my first shot at it. There's definitely a great amount of anticipation and restlessness when you're actually in the city that you're going to be playing. 5 blocks from the venue, you've gone and stood out in front of it. You know, it's pretty. Yeah, it's hard to get any good sleep when you're excited.
We're gonna get to some live music here, guys, with the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Eli Raybon here very shortly. Before we do, let's give some props to the people that are watching here. Like and share the feed wherever you're watching. Like and share the feed. It would mean the world to us. Tammy D gives you props. Christy Locke Wilkes says, I'm watching from, is it Laurinburg, North Carolina?
Yeah, I lived there for 10 years.
She's watching from Laurinburg right
Awesome.
now. Rusty Terry Irwin says, I'm watching and listening from Gainesville, Georgia.
Nice.
Mallory R says, we are related. I love what's happening right now. Ruby Bearfield Williams said, I'm watching from Maxton. Where's Maxton?
I don't know.
Is it Maxton, North Carolina?
I want to say North Carolina.
Yeah. Lisa Shepard Dillon says, wow, looking fantastic. Carrie Miller Blackburn says, make sure you ask Eli about the Battery Brain Neon Noodles packaging disaster.
I actually have a pack of neon noodles for you, too.
A couple of hours before he was leaving for Texas and playing the Eels song for Miss Carrie. I got to know that story.
Right. So we'll just jump into it. So,
wow.
Here
is Did you know there was props, Harris?
Here is a pack of neon noodles, and what I like to think that these are the greatest novelty promotional item of all time. And they were actually created by Miss Carrie Blackburn, who you just read her comment. So it's basically a glorified business card.
Okay.
It's got all of my information on it.
Wait, do you eat them?
You can.
Okay.
They won't kill you.
Okay, they won't kill you. That's a ringing endorsement right there.
They won't kill you. But the main thing is when you unwrap it and you unwrap the packaging, you end up with a big poster of a bunch of comic book characters that sort of tie into my newest album that I've just completed. So, yeah, the packaging disaster was originally the noodles were supposed to be blue.
Okay.
If you notice, those noodles are normal-looking ramen noodles.
Yes.
Originally, they were blue.
Okay.
And we actually had 100 packs of these blue noodles, and I hadn't actually put my eyes on them or seen them in the flesh.
Okay.
And so literally the day that I left for South by, I noticed this big box in my garage, like, oh, those must be the noodles that I'm taking with me to hand out to people at South by Southwest. And I was like, okay, I want to see them with my own eyes. I want to just, confirm everything's all good. And I get one out, and it's a little damp, and I get another one out, and it's even more damp, and I get another one out, and it's just sopping wet. And so I'm like, oh, no, this is not good. So basically, we're not entirely sure what happened, but the first batch of neon noodles were all are just sopping messes of wet, soggy paper.
Like and share the feed, guys. A lot of comments coming in. Wendy, we will get to your question, your comment right there. I'm excited. Mallory, thank you for liking the feed. Thank you guys for sharing the feed. Christy, Tina, thank you for sharing the feed. I think, Harris, what we need to do, and Judah Wickhauer, get in the mix here. I think we need to hear some original music.
Okay, let's do it.
I think we need to, I'm going to shut up. And it's difficult for me to shut up. And I want to see you do your thing, baby. Judah, jump in. We're on studio cam. Judah, you're going to handle the shots. Harris right here is getting things going. What are we going to hear? Give us the name of the song.
So the first one, I always like to start with this one because it's a bizarre song, and it's a kind of a silly song, a sarcastic song. It's called Like an Eel. Okay. And I want to start with it just because Miss Carrie Blackburn just requested it. She wants to hear Like an Eel. So
I'm going to film here with this, so we get more exposure for you.
I love it.
Yeah, I know you do.
It's got to where I'm not, after playing over the years so many shows, so many,
You don't mind.
Open.
Yeah. I totally can relate.
I'm kind of fearless at this point, and we can talk about it more. I don't want to keep talking. I'll shut up and play some music in a second. But,
people are saying, Eli, play some damn music.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
I know.
Because you have the gift of gab just like I do.
Well, that's the thing. I think for me, the really fun part is getting to come on here and just spew out nonsense for an hour.
Right?
Yeah. And I get to play music all the time, but. what I'll do is I'll just play the song and we can talk a bit about it afterwards.
That's what I'm going to ask you about. You play the song, I'll get out of your way. The gentlemen right here are going to cut and produce and edit and make you sound good.
Wow.
And then we'll talk about the influence behind it afterwards.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Jabber, jabber, it's not easy to get under my skin when you blabber. I bang my head against the wall again and again. I can't find a quiet corner in this house. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. I can't sleep on a witch too loud. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. Blah, 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 blah. I can't find a quiet corner in this house. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. I can't get to sleep on a witch too loud. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. Close your flappers. You never stop, do you, crazy person? Jabber, 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 jabber. It's no use, so I just curl up and take it on the chin. I can't find a quiet corner in this house. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. I can't sleep on a witch too loud. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. Blah, 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 blah. I can't find a quiet corner in this house. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. I can't get to sleep on a witch too loud. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. Da da da, da da da, shut your mouth. Hey you, don't start. You just keep on talking from the dawn until the dark. Hey you, don't start. It's funny 'cause your mouth is almost bigger than a shark's. Hey you, don't start. You just keep on talking from the dawn until the dark. Hey you, don't start. It's funny 'cause your mouth is almost bigger than a shark's. I can't find a quiet corner in this house. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. I can't sleep on a witch too loud. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. Blah, 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 blah. I can't find a quiet corner in this house. You're like a needle, you don't ever shut your mouth. I can't get to sleep on a witch too loud. You're like a needle, you don't ever. You don't ever. You don't ever. You don't ever shut your mouth.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Mallory R says you're absolutely killing it right now, Eli.
Thank you.
Loved it.
I have to say, so Mallory is my cousin.
Okay.
And I have seen nothing but support from her for like the past 2 weeks. I've seen so many great things that just made me go, oh.
That's
so
awesome.
Mallory is my new favorite cousin. It's
She's
official.
watching right now.
I know.
Talk to us about the song. Talk to us the inspiration, the influence.
So obviously it's a very sarcastic, silly kind of song it was inspired by a roommate that I had one time who was just a little bit too loud. But that's just kind of how I announce it at shows. That's the funny sort of story behind it. In reality, it's really a song that comes from me just being a bit immature. and not knowing how to live in close proximity with other human beings. You know, there's that time when it's the first time where you have roommates and you're not at your parents, and you know you're not in your own room, in your own
social
space.
graces.
Exactly, yeah. So it was really just, that was a song that came out of me acclimating to just living with other people, basically.
I love it. I love it.
And it's again, it's totally sarcastic, totally tongue in cheek, and just a lot of fun. So,
who are some of the influences? You mentioned the Ramones. You said you played in a punk rock band.
I did, yeah.
Some musical influences.
Well, there's a few big ones that come to mind. I think when my musical taste really started to mature, I really got into a band called The Smiths. And they were a very big influence. And I think that you can hear that in this song. The Smiths have songs like, you know, Big Mouth Strikes Again and stuff like that. And it's sort of this, you know, very sarcastic, almost funny music, you know. And I think that
I'm a big Smiths fan as well.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, that song definitely comes from that place. I'm a big Flaming Lips fan.
Love the Flaming Lips.
That's probably my favorite band, just because they've covered so much ground. They have a record for any mood. They've done, you know, the two big ones, the Soft Bulletin and Yoshimi. Those were, you know, when I got into Yoshimi Battles of Pink Robots, it almost, and I'm going to get into some kind of more sci-fi music later. That's what I'm really doing right now. But when I first heard that album, it was like, man, I've been trying to write a sci-fi album since I was 16, you know, and I've been trying and failing. I've written, there was one, the first one was like Replaced by Technology, and then I had like year 3032 or something. You know, I had tried and failed to write good sci-fi music, and then I heard Yoshimi. It's like, wow,
Yoshimi's awesome.
This sounds like something that I would want to make, and it's sort of so they were a big, and I think you'll definitely hear some Yoshimi influence maybe a bit later.
Wendy, and I wasn't going to go this way, but you're getting a lot of requests for this. Wendy and some other folks on the feed are saying, we would love to hear your cover of Yoshimi. And we had a couple of people say that you do a great cover of Yoshimi. We can you call the shots of what we're playing. I'm just relaying what the folks are saying. Cody Edwards says, glad to see this guy doing big things.
Wow.
Like and share the feed. We're live on 7 channels across the I Love CVille network. Whatever channel you're watching, give it a like and give it a share right now. I'm going to let you decide if you want to play that cover. Before I do, Harris Tolber, I want to get your perspective in here. This guy's a music aficionado. Anything you want to go, anything you want to cover, Harris Tolber, get in here, my friend.
All right. Yeah, I was going to ask the same question about Jerry, about your musical influences. I'm also a big Smiths fan.
Oh, nice.
And I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah,
with like
I think you
almost the satirical lyrics from Morrissey.
Yeah.
Johnny Marr is one of my favorite guitarists.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Yeah. So I'm guessing like a lot of the 80s kind of electronic stuff, would you say has kind of an influence on you?
For sure, yeah. Bands like the Talking Heads,
love the Talking Heads,
the B-52s, all that new wave stuff, New Order, all of the sort of, and then the more avant-garde stuff, the Tangerine Dreams and the Kraftwerk, and that sort of those bands are all very big influences.
Can I ask you how old you are?
I'm 21.
Okay, you're 21 years old, and you're influenced by bands that literally have tenure and longevity that are probably almost twice your age, close to twice your age here. Put that in perspective. How did we get to that point?
A lot of it's dad.
Okay.
Like I said, I grew up with all different kinds of music. And so my musical taste doesn't tend to be one-dimensional.
Right.
It's definitely
it's
not
robust.
And I don't mean to be, down on the state of music or anything. I just tend to find more inspiration from older stuff in general. And
what do you mean by that? You think the state of music, I'm going to say it, you agree or disagree with what I'm going to say. The state of current music, a lot of pop and current music, contrived, insecure, unwillingness to show vulnerability. Oftentimes the artist's not doing the songwriting themselves. They're doing songwriting written by somebody twice their age.
There's a laundry list of 15 writers to write one pop hit. It's like, that's not music to me. And the other thing is, I think my biggest problem with it, which just basically takes everything you just said and bundles it into one, there's no character.
no authenticity.
Right. I don't want to drop any names here, but you could take, all the big female pop singers. You can swap. You could take, a song from one and give it to the other, and it would still work. And for me, it's like I want to write music that only I can pull off. That I have to sing to you because I'm wearing my.
You're wearing the goggles.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Because I have the goggles, so
right.
I'm the only one who can sing these songs.
That is a microcosm of Eli Raybon. I have the goggles, and because I have the goggles, this is my music, and I don't care what you think.
Yeah. So I think that's my thing. I just don't think that there's the character that there used to be, and just the musical complexity, like the song arrangements now. A lot of what I'm hearing in pop, and not everything. I mean, there are certainly exceptions and stuff that I hear in the top 40 now that's like, oh, that's fresh. I like that.
You have people watching in North Carolina. A lot of people watching all over the state of North Carolina. I see the heat map here.
It's crazy.
You have people watching in Louisiana. You have people watching in South Carolina. People watching in Waynesboro. People watching in Pennsylvania. Folks in Nevada right now watching. Folks. Where is this? Arkansas watching right now. Of course, Virginia and across Central Virginia. People are feeling the Eli Raybon vibe right now. I've got another request coming in for the Yoshimi cover. Just letting you know what folks are asking. I mean, the show is yours, though. You don't feel compelled.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. There are no rules here.
I like it.
No rules.
No, it's. I'm glad that people are watching. I've heard you mention names that I haven't heard from in years, so it's I'm feeling the support right now.
Well, let me mention a couple more names, and
okay.
I love to get the names in there because if they're willing to go out of their way and leave a positive comment, we should acknowledge.
I agree.
Amelia La Cognata. She says this was rocking.
Yeah, Emmy.
Cody Edwards, who I've mentioned, said you're doing big time things. Lisa Shepard Dillon said I love that song and the story behind it. I love what's watching. Amelia La Cognata says she's watching from Florida.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Florida, Amelia? Put it in the stream. Let us know where you're watching. I was born in Naples, Florida, Amelia.
Amelia, or Emmy, as
is it Emmy? Okay.
That's how I know her. She's one of the people from the Musically days, from the Lively days, that has just continued to be the most supportive person that you could possibly be.
I love it.
She's awesome.
I love it. All right, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to Harris Tolbert, Judah Wickhauer, make this program possible for us. We have the easy job. All we have to do is be ourselves.
Exactly.
These guys have the challenging job. They keep us on air, sounding good, looking good, making sure the technology is performing. Let's do another song here. What are we going to hear before?
So I'm going to play. I may have to double up here and do an original and then do the Yoshimi cover.
He's going to do the Yoshimi cover.
I think
guys,
people want to hear it.
Tina Madrell says she's watching from Lamar, South Carolina. Emmy from the Tampa Bay area. Alex Jarrell, love seeing you rocking and doing something you love. I love seeing you, Eli, on camera. Alex Jarrell giving you props.
This is amazing. We were like best friends when I was like 6. Yeah, that's someone from way back.
I know. I mean, Anita says 30 cents. She wants to hear 30 cents. Lisa Belcher says, congrats from the Fame All-Star Cheerleaders.
Wow.
The Fame All-Star Cheerleaders. I love what's happening. Okay, the show is yours. So you have another request of 30 cents here.
Well, 30 Cents is a song of mine that is probably, spoiler alert, I'm not going to play it.
Okay.
It's not as polished live as some of these other ones, but it's probably my most well-known song because we did a music video for it that was a reverse retro spy thriller. So I'm dressed up in this full green suit. I'm sure you can imagine full green suit.
Was it terrifying?
A little bit.
Okay.
there are men in black chasing me. I'm running from them. They're in like an old school like 60s car. It's basically like a 70s noir music video. And I'm running from these men in black because this spy has planted these secret documents on my person, and I'm unaware, so I'm being pursued by these people. Long story short, the entire video plays out entirely in reverse. So it literally starts at the end and plays backwards.
Wow.
It's really trippy, and it was screened at like 10 or 11 indie film festivals, and so I got a lot of traction for the music video for that song. But what I'm going to play now is a song called Unsymmetrical, and I think you'll be able to hear the punk influence. That's why I want to play it. I think you'll definitely hear the classic.
The Ramones?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You know, but it's sort of a modern. it's my modern take on garage rock or punk. Or
Anita says
whatever
you're
you
looking
wanna
very
say.
cool. Lisa Belcher says I'm watching from Stanton, Virginia. This is fantastic. You're on fire right now. I'm getting out of the way. Show is yours, sir.
All I can say is I'm glad that I wore the goggles. You know, I was questioning it. I rolled out of bed. I was like,
I'm glad you wore the goggles too.
You know, should I wear the goggles? I go through this every time. It's like I have to ask myself, okay, you know, when's the point where you're going too far? But
it's like your cape, your superpower.
I do. I tend to really, you know, I don't tone things down unless I have a very compelling reason to do so.
I like that.
And I figured that, you know, for something like this, you know, this gets to live online forever, and people can see that when I was, 21, I was very hip with when everyone's wearing space goggles in 5 years, you know.
You're going to be a trendsetter.
Exactly.
Like and share the feed, baby. Like and share the feed. Put Eli in the spotlight. Give it a like and share. Show's yours.
So this one's called Unsymmetrical.
Okay.
It's my garage punk song. There's a very interesting story behind how this song came about, which we'll get into afterwards.
Okay.
So here we go. I always find a way, I do this every day. It's getting to the point where I have no clue what to say. I need to get away, my hair is turning gray. I always get this way when I'm feeling tired. So tired, but I can't shut my eyes, I never find a way. I do this every day, it's getting to the point where every day is Judgment Day. Fire, on fire. Better shut your eyes, I always find a way. It feels like my birthday, I'm bored of staying here, I won't run away. Are you coming with? I need to know, okay. I guess by now you know that I'm okay if I stay tired. So tired, but I can't shut my eyes. Unsymmetrical features, I'm all business, scary creatures, why don't you listen? D-I-S-O-R-I-E-N-T-D, that's me you see. I know that I'm on my game, would you agree? Second guessing, I'd appreciate some clarity. I've always wondered if you wonder what it's like to be tired. So tired, but you can't shut your eyes, I always find a way. I do this every day, it's getting to the point where I don't even know what I want to say. Liar, you're a liar. You better shut your eyes. D-I-S-O-R-I-E-N-T-D, that's me you see. I know that I'm on my game, would you agree? Second guessing, I'd appreciate some clarity. I've always wondered if you wonder what it's like to be tired. So tired, but you can shut your eyes. Unsymmetrical features, I'm all business, scary creatures, why don't you listen? D-I-S-O-R-I-E-N-T-D, that's me you see. D-I-S-O-R-I-E-N-T-D, that's me you see. D-A-S-O-R-I-E-N-T-D, that's me you see. I know that I'm on my game, would you agree? Never second guessing, I'd appreciate some clarity. Always wondered if you wonder what it's like to be tired. So tired, but you can't shut your eyes, I always find a way. I do this every day, it's getting to the point where I don't even know what I want to say. Liar, you're a liar. You better shut your eyes, D-A-S-O-R-I-E-N-T-D, that's me you see. I know that I'm on my game, would you agree? Never second guessing, I'd appreciate some clarity. Always wondered if you wonder what it's like to be tired. So tired, but you can't shut your eyes.
Dude, bringing the fire. Bringing the fire on a Friday. I think I just saw the sunshine come out. Eli Raybon, dude. Talk to me about that. You bring some. I love it. I love it. People are loving this. Emmy in Tampa says, I love this song. Like and share the feed, baby. Like and share the feed. Talk to us.
Well, I always forget that a lot of people haven't seen me play these songs live because they don't live in Virginia.
Right.
I've been playing these songs a ton out in Virginia, so a lot of my Virginia friends have heard it, but I forgot that I haven't done a live stream in quite some time.
Well,
And
you
I
should
haven't
do
played
more
these
of them.
songs. Yeah, maybe I should.
I know.
So the story behind that song is very interesting. I had finished my first album, and this is actually going to be a great jumping off point to how I continued to evolve as a musician after my first album, which was all acoustic.
Okay.
So this was my first song that I wrote after my very acoustic first album, and the recording of this is a very new wavy B-52s Talking Heads sounding song. It was the first song where I was using a lot of synthesizers, and the first, really where my musical direction started to change. But the idea behind the song, or the story behind the song, is very interesting because I set up a timer and put 15 minutes on it.
Okay.
And I had stayed up for something like 40 hours or something, a long time.
Stayed up for 40 hours straight?
Yeah.
I do stuff like that.
Just to do it.
Yeah.
It was just. I
sleep 2.5, 3 hours a night.
I don't know
every
why.
Night.
No, I would have a hard time doing that, I have to admit. But back to Wendy Turley's sleep question at South by Southwest. When it's like time to do stuff, like if there's a reason for me to be awake, I'm not going to be sleeping. I only sleep when I feel like I can. If I'm at a festival, there's, when you're at South by Southwest, if you're sleeping, full nights, you're not doing something
and
right.
This is all natural.
Yeah, because there's
all natural. Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so not to go on a tangent, but basically the story behind the song was I stayed up for something like 40, 45 hours. I set up a clock, put 15 minutes on it.
Okay.
And I just wrote the first nonsense that came into my head.
Okay.
And it ended up being not my most melodic song, it doesn't make the most sense structurally, but it ended up being
was good,
a
dude.
very potent piece of like garage rock punk.
Yeah.
And then the recording of it is this kind of crazy new wave sort of thing, and it sort of marked my change in direction from the more typical acoustic stuff to like the Talking Heads, Smiths inspired new wave stuff that I started to work on.
Let's get Tolbert in the mix. Tolbert, I think you liked that track, right? I was feeling it, man.
Absolutely.
It hit close to home.
It's fun. It's one of the most fun songs to play.
My buddy Harris Tolbert here is a passionate music fan here. Talk to us, Harris Tolbert, of what you just heard.
Yeah, I loved it. I definitely saw some Talking Heads influence.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the energy, man, that you bring. And one thing I wanted to say is, like, one thing that you're not scared to do that a lot of artists are, is, in my opinion, some people will disagree with me, but no piece of art is 100% original. Like, everyone draws on their influences, right?
There's no output without input, is what I like to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great way to say it. And what I think the difference between one type of artist and another is one artist kind of makes themselves into a replica, right? Whereas another one takes the influences and then creates something new and goes into untrodden territory. And I think that's what you're attempting to do.
Well, that's good.
Nicely done,
That's good to
Harris.
hear. But no, I could go in a whole. I've thought through this quite a bit. Just influences. You're gonna be influenced by something, whether that's an album or an artist or a film, a book, something. There's no output without input. So if you were born and you were just kept in a dark void with no
a box
with no sensory input, no touch, no taste, smell, hearing, anything like that, you would never think anything because there's nothing to think about. So yeah, I like to think that the other thing about my influences is that I tend to discover them almost after I'm already, I already have the idea. So for example, the B-52s, a lot of people hear that song, it's like, man, that sounds like something the B-52s would put out. But I didn't get into the B-52s or know who the B-52s were until 2 or 3 years after that song was written. And that's kind of why I listen to the music that I listen to. It's like, oh, wow, I wish I would have made that, and it sort of helps. It just gives me new ideas of things I can try. And
Get this. Steve Jordan
okay.
is watching right now. And Steve Jordan
Thank you,
Harris, you're
Steve.
going to love this. Judah Wickhauer, listen to this. Steve Jordan is watching right now in the United Kingdom, close to Bristol in the southwest of England. It's 6:20 in the morning right now, and he's watching from England. You do your thing.
I hope we're waking him up.
I mean, that's got to make you feel good.
It makes me feel very good.
Right?
Man. It does.
I mean, you have supporters here.
It's crazy. A lot of what I do, the more electronic-based stuff, the synthwave scene, there's a lot going on in England, especially in London. And so I get, radio play over there and a lot of support. I was on Wednesday played on a radio show called the Electrowave Show. This guy named Stuart Calder, he does it, and yeah, he's from the UK. Shows so much support. It's actually
It's actually
unbelievable.
radio show in England.
So
Through
just
Skype.
No, not me actually appearing on it like this. Just they're playing my music.
Understood.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
They
Gotcha.
have I'm in their playlist, so I get
That's sick, dude.
I know it's crazy. It's awesome.
What's the long game here?
Figuring it out as I go along.
Yeah?
I mean,
Day by day.
not quite. I know a lot more now on what I'm actually trying to do than when I started out. So again, I feel like we're tying things together. So after I finished my first album, and I wrote this song, Unsymmetrical. Around that same time, I got discovered maybe by this local talent scout in Louisiana, because I got back with my finished album and just started playing shows like crazy.
Yeah.
Because Lafayette, Louisiana, which I think you saw on my Facebook.
I did.
It had a very active music scene, but there weren't that many musicians. It wasn't very competitive. So I was able to get in really fast and play,
And penetrate.
2 or 3 shows every weekend, paid gigs, like right off the get-go. And so I was found by this talent scout who I kind of got drugged to Dallas, Texas for this talent expo. It was a model and talent expo.
Okay, so you were there for your looks.
Exactly. Exactly.
Come
well,
on.
see, no,
I
this
love
is the
I
funny
love
thing.
this guy,
They were
Harris.
like, well, okay, look, you've got the whole music thing down, but if you're going to go to this expo, you're going to act and you're going to model as well, just to get more eyes on you. I'm like, I don't know about this.
Well,
but
I bet you killed it.
But what I did, I did.
Yeah, because you got,
I
you know
did.
why you killed it is because you have the gift of human connection. You have a swagger. You're confident. You are not afraid to be yourself. And when you're not
that's
afraid
true.
to be yourself, it emanates like this contagious vibe and energy. And people are drawn to it. It's like magnanimous.
Right.
If you may.
So it was funny. So they said, okay, you're going to do your music thing, but you're going to act and model as well. I go, okay. Well, I'm going to choose what I act, because basically when you're at these things, you have like a monologue and a 2-person scene, and you get to choose what these things are. So basically, I chose everything. Everything I did was McLovin from Superbad.
Love McLovin.
So,
Love Superbad.
Yeah. So that was what all my acting scenes were, and not to toot my own horn or anything, but
toot away.
I literally won every acting award in the expo, which again, I don't think that stands as a testament to my acting. I think it just shows.
Oh, stop! Don't marginalize yourself.
No. I think that I realize it's like, okay, I can play a certain type of role really well. I can exaggerate the computer scientist in me and be, I tend to say I'm a geek. But I can go full nerd if I need to, and just hike my pants way up and talk in a more nasally voice, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I think that came across. So anyway, the point of this whole thing was, at that time I was 18. I didn't know what pursuing music meant. I didn't understand anything about the business or what my goals were, what I was trying to do. And from that expo, I met some people in LA. And they're like, you should come and move out to LA. We can hook you up. We have connections. And again, I didn't know what I was doing. So I moved to LA. And it was almost more of a symbolic move than a business move, because it was like, okay, like I'm
manifest destiny, baby.
Yeah, I'm committed to this. I'm going for this. I'm going to move to LA. And that's going to, it's just kind of a statement that shows everyone. It's like, oh, wow, he's actually.
Dude, I appreciate
committed to
you.
that.
So I am an entrepreneur and business owner. 80% of businesses fail in their first 3 years. What I appreciate about you as a musician is your sense of fearlessness. You understand that the odds are stacked against you, and they're stacked
Absolutely.
against any musician.
Yeah.
They're stacked against any entrepreneur or business owner. And you see the data, you see the writing on the wall, and you say, I don't give an F. I'm going to go for it no matter what.
Well,
and it's that sense of confidence that I honestly believe, and that sense of fearlessness and the willingness to be vulnerable, that is going to make you successful.
It was when I was in LA. Again, I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I was doing some session work pretty regularly, just going in and writing songs and playing guitar for other singers. And, again, I was just trying to kind of find my way. And I realized after being there, it's like, I haven't met another person that's trying to do the same thing that I'm trying to do. And that gave me a lot of confidence, because it's like, because I met so many people my age who are trying to be entertainers, singers, actors, and I just, have a lot of good friends doing it. It's like, but I don't feel like we're even competing. I'm trying to do something completely different.
Well, you're kind of competing.
In a way.
There's only so many stages and roles.
That's true, but I feel like the type of stages that they're after is not really. I really don't think we're competing, to be honest. And that gave me a lot of confidence to it's like, you know what, I don't need to try to do anything other than just, like you said, just
be yourself.
Be myself. Yeah,
be yourself.
And that's really it's funny. All these sort of cliches sound really cheesy, but when you actually live it, it's like actually nice.
It doesn't sound cheesy.
Yeah, it's when you actually, it's cheesy to say, oh, be yourself, but when you actually do it, it's like you get a lot of.
And we're gonna get out of the way. People want to hear you play some more music. Are you gonna do the cover?
I'm gonna do the cover.
Okay, you got it.
I'll do
some
it.
People. Here's the problem. Okay, it sounds cheesy. Oh, be yourself.
Yeah.
But so few people do it because they want to look a certain way on social media, and they want to look a certain way to their friends or their family or whatever it may be. But the people who have the cojones and the fearlessness and the courage to be themselves and showcase that vulnerability and say, this is who I am, whether you like it or not, this is what I'm going to do. Those are the people that end up winning. Because you know why? This is why. Because they are not distracted by the BS that doesn't matter. And when you're just willing to be yourself and say, I'm going to go about my life and be this, and I'm going to put it firsthand perspective, this confident, alpha, outgoing, benevolent, kind, golden rule embodying person. And whether you like it or not, this is what I'm going to do. It takes so much of the BS out of the way and allows you to focus on the stuff that really matters, like friends and family and love and business, whatever it may be.
Right, yeah. My whole first album, the acoustic album, is a lot about that. It's called The Machine and My Dilemma. And basically the machine is what you're talking about, this sort of societal pressure to live up to, just to be a certain thing. And then, the dilemma is like, well, if I, break away from this, what could I lose? But also, like, how can I not, be myself and do what I, really am passionate about doing?
Right.
That sort of thing.
Because you will have regrets.
Yeah.
I have no regrets.
I can honestly say at this point I don't either. And it's a little bit bizarre to me to have not continued formal education because, like I said, I was a complete school boy. But the you know
why it's bizarre to you? It's because of social norms.
Well, that's exactly that's what my first album is about. Yeah,
18
exactly.
to 22, you should do this.
Right, and to me, like I said, I don't regret it at all. I feel like a lot of people that I know firsthand who have gone that route, they don't really know.
They're unhappy.
They don't really know what they want.
They're disenchanted.
Right, and it's like I would rather try this and just completely fail, and then I can always do something else later.
Utterly love this.
I don't know.
This is how I live my life.
I'm glad that you agree because I lived in a very small town for 10 years where a lot of these sort of societal norms were over-exaggerated a bit, I think. And so I think for me, I didn't grow up in a city where, it was normal for, successful kids to not go to school. And I really put a lot of value in learning. And see, that's the thing is that I still read just as much as I've ever done. I still, keep brushed up on the maths and all that sort of thing.
I'm not marginalizing. I am not marginalizing higher education. Neither are you. I'm not marginalizing college and people choosing that path. What I am. You want some more water, JW? Let's get this man some water. Let's get some water. What I am saying is if we do not pursue our passions and our dreams, and we do not pursue what means something to us, we will live this like empty, like unfulfilled life. And this empty, unfulfilled life will manifest itself in some way, whether it's being happy, being unhappy with your family, something. It will manifest itself some way. Yeah. So you have to pursue your passions and your interests.
I think, yeah, fulfilling is a word that I definitely think about a lot. It's like making an album to me is the most fulfilling thing. Performing music is the most fulfilling thing. And it's like, if I didn't have any of that and I was working a 9 to 5 somewhere, would I be happy? Maybe the money would be better, but would I be fulfilled? And it's like, I was asking myself that question at 18. It's like,
you're an old soul.
I don't think that I would. And, maybe it's, I also have a hard time, thank you so much, looking, years and years into the future, like when I'm 40. I have a difficult time making decisions now. Based on what might happen later, like the whole wife and kids thing. I can't even begin to imagine that now. So I don't make decisions with that being the end goal, because I don't think it is. So.
I love this dude. Dude. Harris Tolbert wants to jump in here. Tolbert, talk to us, baby.
Yeah. First of all, yeah, Eli, I love your mindset, man.
Me too.
You're just your life outlook.
I really do.
I had to sizzle reel one of those answers because it was just so well said. I have a question about being an artist. And one thing I've noticed with somebody who has the artistic gene is that they don't necessarily need to express that in just one way.
Oh, yeah.
Most of my favorite musicians started out in art school. Some musicians that I like later just completely went into fashion or like modeling or
writing,
poetry,
yeah,
et cetera, et cetera. It branches out. If you have the artistic gene, you're an artist. You're not necessarily a musician.
I 100% agree.
You're not categorized like that. So one thing I know that you've been doing is you've been like incorporating and trying to branch out your music and how it involves to like film or like acting, or like I read something about you have like a kind of like, maybe talk to us a little about like the science fiction kind of direction.
No, I think that's a great talking point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I don't necessarily view myself as just a musician or a singer. I always say I'm an artist, and what that means to me is that I like to create everything, and music is the medium that I have really fallen in love with, and I've put the most time into.
And you're most comfortable with.
I've developed it the most, but I've absolutely on my bucket list, I want to write, like short stories and novellas. I think I would be really good at that, and that's something I plan to get into in the future. Film is definitely an artistic outlet that I've begun to fall more and more in love with over the years. And with the 30 Cents video I worked with a really, really talented director duo. They go by Marcus Thorington, and just really outside the box thinking people, and it really inspired. And when we finished that video, and I played the man in green and got to sort of bust out the acting chops in that a little bit. I was like, wow, I want to do more of this. Not only can I see me doing more music videos, but I can see me just directing some little weird experimental short films too, and then scoring them, and that's how it ties into music. Or what I've been working on a lot now is a comic book tie-in to my newest album, because the album is this concept album, so it has a story, a narrative, characters, and the actual album doesn't beat you over the head with it, but if you want it, it's there. And so I've been developing these comic book characters.
This dude is deep, Harris.
I've been developing these comic book characters with not a Charlottesville artist, an artist in Stanton. His name's Craig Snodgrass. And I met Craig at an art festival. I walk into his booth, and there are just paintings of robots everywhere. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I've got to meet this guy.
Right.
It was surreal, because everything else was, just like normal art, cool, great paintings, some interesting stuff. But I walk into this booth, and it's like all sci-fi. Like, whoa, this is awesome. So I meet Craig, and he actually just won a contest or festival in Charlottesville called the Tom Festival.
Yeah, it starts on Monday.
Well, his robots are now on a bus. There's a giant bus with robots on it. So I met him. So I've been branching out into that. And another artistic medium
we need to get to music.
A lot of people, I think talking about robots, I'll just play the Yoshimi cover. We'll see how it goes. One last thing, though, I think video games are a form of art that I see myself getting into because it sort of scratches the computer science itch. And the thing is, video games these days, you know, you have your really popular games like Fortnite, and a lot of people who aren't really into video games probably assume that every game is like Fortnite. But that would be like assuming that every film is like the Avengers.
Yeah.
You have your weird indie art house video games too, and I can see myself getting into that just because it mixes the storytelling, the writing, the music, the technology. It's sort of all bundled into one. So
You have you embody a lot of Renaissance qualities, and where maybe 15 years ago or 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, it may have been seen as like scattered
right.
or ADHD
Yeah.
or ADD all over the place.
Oh, for sure.
It's organized chaos.
It is
and
organized
it's all
chaos, yeah.
vertically integrated in some capacity or the other. Like,
It is.
It's all coming back to this like creative epicenter.
Yeah, you have to. I think with creativity, I tend to think it's best
And it's
just
not
to be
just creativity.
unrestrained.
It's entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I've
Really?
I've had a lot of fun, focusing on the business side of things too, because there are creative elements to it, like building a website, social media.
Dude.
There are certainly creative aspects to that too that
I do this
actually
70
enjoy.
hours a week.
Right.
And I literally 70 hours a week the entire time. 11 years of running this business in May.
Wow.
11 years. And literally every single day, I'm hopping from one side of the brain to the other side of the brain, using like the linear analytical, and then going to the creative, and like finding like, all right, I'm in the middle, I'm on the far right, and having to hop back and forth.
Right.
And like some people are like, how are you doing this? How are you hopping? How are you doing this? And I'm like, it's normal to us.
Yeah.
It's every day.
I have I like organized chaos is a great way.
Organized
to put it.
chaos.
I have a guy I work with named Kevin Blackburn, who is the husband of Carrie Blackburn, who made the Neon Noodles. So they're big shout out to Miss
Carrie.
Yeah. So I work with him. He sort of acts as a creative director, is what we call it. And basically, it's the person who helps rein it in and focus it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I basically, have the ideas.
But you'll learn that though. Like
Yeah.
I've been able to over time to reel it in, because I'm like, all right, I'm getting a little. Let's bring it in. You're a young dude.
Yeah.
You're 21 years old, right? 21.
Yeah, 21. I'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll
We're gonna get out of the way. People want live music. Okay, guys, we're about to play some live music. Judah Wickhauer, get in here.
I do need a favor. I need
Yeah.
someone, if you could grab, I have in my
Judah,
guitar case
will you grab this
a
for him?
capo. If you open it and then you open the little thing in the middle, there should be like a red looking clamp thing. All right.
There we go. Red clamp. That's the technical term right there. Like and share the feed, guys. This guy's going to play Yoshimi.
I am.
And this is a request that was put in by somebody from South Carolina. We have people watching the show right now that are literally in England right now. In England. Like and share the
Wow.
feed.
Her name is Yoshimi. She's a black belt in karate, working for the city. She has to discipline her body, 'cause she knows that it's demanding to defeat those evil machines. I know she can beat them. Oh, Yoshimi, they don't believe me. But you won't let those robots eat me, Yoshimi. They don't believe me. But you won't let those robots defeat me. Those evil-natured robots are programmed to destroy us. She's gotta be strong to fight them. So she's taking lots of vitamins, 'cause she knows that it'd be tragic if those evil robots win. I know she can beat them. Oh, Yoshime, they don't believe me. But you won't let those robots defeat me, Yoshime. They don't believe me. But you won't let those robots defeat me, Yoshime.
Dude,
All right.
that was so good.
Thank you.
I mean, so good, so good. I mean, obviously a big time influence here, and I'm still rolling the live stream here. Flaming
Awesome.
Lips.
Yeah.
Put it in perspective.
You know, I've played that song quite a bit. That was one of the staples of my old live stream. And again, this is where it gets funny. I was on stream playing that for thousands of kids, basically. As I used to joke around and be like, I'm basically the new Wiggles.
The new Wiggles.
I am basically and I used to dress up all in green. I had like a green cape and a green. I was basically the lost green Wiggle.
Harris Tolber, I know that hit close to home right there. Jump in here, Harris Tolber. What'd you think about that?
I love that. You said that was a cover, right?
Yeah, that was Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots by the Flaming Lips.
Flaming
By the
Lips,
Flaming
baby.
Lips. I honestly have never really ventured into the Flaming Lips, but man,
We're missing out. They have a lot of really, really cool records.
I need to.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about them, just never. But yeah, I love
the
that.
Flaming Lips.
Love that cover. Yeah.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm loving your. Honestly, I feel like very old soul.
I get that.
You get that?
I get that a lot. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
It's a compliment. You know why it's a
It
compliment?
is a compliment,
It
yeah.
means you have perspective.
I guess so. I guess it's weird. I understand what people mean when they say it, and I definitely do take it as a compliment. But I'm also into a lot of very, I guess, modern things. Like there's some internet micro genres of music, like synthwave and vaporwave, and these really niche things, like these extremely that I'm all into. And I feel like people like my dad don't necessarily get it as much, maybe. So I don't know. I like to think that I'm just into anything. If it's cool art, it gets a thumbs up for me.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Give us one more.
I am.
We'll
I'm going to give you an original. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go original. We have filled 75 minutes. 75 minutes in right here.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 75 minutes. You are crushing. You are crushing. You are crushing it. I'm just grateful for your time. 75 minutes. We will close her down.
Okay.
Give us an original.
I'm going to play one called Empathy Test,
Okay.
which is the title is inspired by Blade Runner, the 80s sci-fi film.
Okay.
And
Not the remake with Wesley Snipes.
not the remake. I haven't seen the remake yet.
It's worth watching.
I haven't seen it
It's
yet.
probably not as good as the original.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I heard it was good.
Yeah.
I heard it is a longer
It's longer.
film too. Yeah.
It's longer. A lot of action.
Well, cool. So anyway, this song I just released as a single 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So it's my newest song, and I've never played it live really before. So
Playing it for the world right now.
we'll see how it goes. All right.
Sit still, slow your breathing. We like to be sure we get an accurate reading. Stop your protests, don't try to resist. We've come to administer an empathy test. We want to know what's in your head, what makes her tick or tick. I promise you it's painless, the procedure is very quick. We want to know what's in your mind, there's no cause for concern. We'll check for faulty wires and make sure your gears still turn. settle down. We're receiving a steady stream of data that will tell us what you're dreaming. How does it feel to have your buddy's breast? Your synapses under the stress of an empathy test. We want to know what's in your head, what makes your ticker tick. I promise you it's painless, the procedure is very quick. We want to know what's in your mind, there's no cause for concern. We'll check for faulty wires and make sure your gears still turn. Empathy test, each memory compressed. Be patient while we wait for your results. Empathy test, your circuits all connect. The evidence is indisputable. We want to know what's in your head, what makes your ticker tick. I promise you it's painless, the procedure is very quick. We want to know what's in your mind, there's no cause for concern. We'll check for faulty wires and make sure your gears still turn.
So good. That one was deep, dude.
It is, yeah. There was an article that came out yesterday that I think really put the song to words better than I ever have. Just, it was on a website called B-Sides and Badlands, and it was a very, very insightful article, and it did. He got really deep with it. So, it is. It's one of those songs that
I haven't read the article.
Yeah.
But what I got, and I feel like everyone takes something different from music.
Yeah, that's what's great about music.
It's an empathy test, and empathy is the willingness
Yeah.
to understand others' feelings and be
Absolutely,
patient
right.
and appreciate. I feel like with what you're doing, that is like, this is every day we are tested by people, and every day we are tested whether or not we are going to be, willing to tolerate or accept or embrace different perspectives.
Yeah.
And that's our empathy test.
Right, and that's the article really got into that. And it's funny with this new album, so much of it is they're sci-fi songs. So Empathy Test, the title, like I said, it came from the film Blade Runner, and Deckard, Harrison Ford's character, in order to find the runaway replicants, he has to administer an empathy test, which is basically, are you capable of feeling empathy, or are you all cold calculation?
A stone.
Are you all numbers? Are you a
Right.
robot? Are you a computer? And so it's starting with something like that, and then usually it's a funny thing about music and art, and I think it's just part of being human. When we create things, we can't help but put pieces of ourselves and our feelings and our emotions into it. And so with all of these sci-fi songs, they all kind of they're all double. You have the literal sci-fi, I'm singing about robots and androids, but then you also have the very human side. And it's funny that a sci-fi album, with songs like Battery Brain and Computer Don't Kill Me and Empathy Test, songs like these, is by far the most personal thing I've ever done. Because everything has this sort of like metaphorical edge to it, and it's a way to sing songs, say you're singing about the same universal emotions that everyone else is singing about, but just doing it in a completely different way.
Empathy
and
Test
presenting
has
it
the
differently.
hook.
It does, yeah.
It has the hook.
It surprised me. The funny thing about that song was it was in the trash.
What do you mean?
Well,
you were concerned about the.
No, usually when I'm writing, I tend not to finish songs if I don't think it's going well.
Uh-huh.
And with Empathy Test, I had the minor key verses. I had that, and I liked it, and I thought it was very strong lyrically, but I didn't really know where to take it. And I had sent some demos to the guy who helped me produce the newest record. His name's Prozac Morris, and based on his response to the demos, it sounded like I reignited his love for music. He was so positive about what I had sent him.
I loved it.
And so I took a sec. I was like, well, I got this other song called Empathy Test that I've kind of put on the shelf. Maybe I'll get it out and finish it.
Is that your
And I did.
iconic track? You're like a marquee. You know, artists have
Yeah.
So Far.
I don't know. It
was the deepest lyrically.
It by far, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't know. I had no idea that we had burned through so much time so fast. I would have played some more sci-fi stuff.
I'm going to ask you to play an encore.
Please do.
Yeah. We're
I'm
90 minutes in. We normally do 60 minutes,
We'll
but
just
you've
go-
blown the. I've been told her it's been good. Yeah, it's been good.
We'll just go on, for a 4-hour marathon.
We cannot do a 4-hour
cannot do it.
marathon.
All right.
But the reason we can is because we got a tremendous amount of work we got to get to. But you have truly impressed me. I mean, I've just been like, I appreciate, and I'm not, and I really hope you understand how authentic I'm being here. I appreciate your willingness to be who you are, and I'm literally drawn to people like that are like, this is what I am. This is who I am. I'm going to do this every day. And I think if we all could do that, as opposed to this contrived, fabricated, Snapchat, Instagram filtered life, if we could just be ourselves and authentic and genuine, it would be better. We need more Eli Raybons in the world.
I think a lot of it, I grew up really on the line. I grew up in a time before every 8-year-old had a smartphone, but that technology was starting to, really come into its own. The internet was around, but I remember when YouTube came out. I remember the birth of a lot of these big social media sites, but when I was younger, when I was 7 or 8 or whatever, really when I was growing up, my childhood was not dominated by it, and I wonder if that
the
maybe
depth in your
had an
perspective
effect
for someone your age and so young is honestly astounding. And when I was 21 years old, all I was doing was chasing women and parties.
Don't do that. Your music will be very boring.
It would be very contrived and cheesy and lacking depth and character and authenticity. Which is the absolute antithesis of your music.
Not to go on a tangent. I feel like a lot of young people, feelings and impulses are writing the music as opposed to their brains writing the music. And you have to take control of your creativity and take control of your music.
Michael Kislick says you're a great live musician. You're a fantastic storyteller. That's Michael Kislick right there. The I Love CVille page has, I think, 80 comments on the live stream right now. And I'm going to get out of the way.
I'm overwhelmed.
Jennifer Jones La Cognata, is that Emmy's kin?
It is, yeah. I believe that is her mom.
Okay. I mean, she's just loving this here. I mean, we have people, guys, literally watching in Tampa, South Carolina, North Carolina, the United Kingdom right now. Someone's watching in Idaho. Someone's watching in New Mexico, Lafayette, Louisiana. Wow. If we can use social media for positivity.
Yeah. It's definitely,
instead of hating on politics and taking beautiful, fake filters.
Yeah, you can. It's easy to get caught up in.
Right. I'm going to get out of the way.
All right,
what are we going to hear?
This one's called Battery Brain. And it's another one that,
This is the encore.
This is the encore. I started with the title, Battery Brain. And I thought that was interesting. No one's ever sung that song before. I'm really into that. I'm into sequencing words like no one's ever sequenced them before. And I had this hook. I've got a faulty battery brain. It's like that. It says so much with so little, and it's I don't think anyone's ever sung that combination of words before. So I'm gonna write this song, and it ended up being probably the most personal song I've ever written. It's got a lot of deep meanings to me, but on the surface, it's a sci-fi song. So it's kind of the I don't know. It represents what I'm doing pretty well.
Carrie Miller Blackburn says you are killing it, Eli.
Thank you. All this support is unreal. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Again, thank you. Big thank you to I Love CVille for having me on.
Big thank you to Eli Raybon.
Man,
crushing it. Show's yours.
All right. I've got pride in my brain.
it hum. Lately all of my circuitry has been acting up. Hexadecimal thoughts, binary trees, sweet silicon, man or machine. I try to keep my head on straight. I've got a faulty battery brain. I can't even recall my name. I've got a faulty battery brain. But I hope I remember you forever. I hope I never forget. You overload my emotion repressor. My digital domain is about to crash. Data isn't flowing to the memory cache. Hexadecimal thoughts, binary dreams, sweet silicon, man or machine. I try to keep my head on straight. I've got a faulty battery brain. I can't even recall my name. Got a faulty battery brain. But I hope I remember you forever. I hope I never forget. You overload my emotion repressor. Have my numbers gone cold? Have my numbers gone heartless? And is there malice in my bits? Do my digits contradict? Have my numbers gone cold? Have my numbers gone heartless? I'll have to have my switches flipped. I try to keep my head on straight. I've got a faulty battery brain. I can't even recall my name. I've got a faulty battery brain. But I hope I remember you forever. I hope I never forget. You overload my emotion repressor. Oh.
So good, dude. Say
Thank you.
something to I Love CVille Instagram right there.
Thank you so much, I Love CVille, for having me on. I've had a blast. Let's do it again sometime.
Oh, Eli, you were so good. Oh man, I'm
Thank you.
impressed. I'm really, really impressed. When we came in to the interview, it's like, where are we gonna go? How's this gonna go? And it like surpassed like 10,000 miles beyond my expectations.
I mean, like I said, I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, so I was super excited.
It's the long form where you're going to excel in.
It is, because it really is, because I have so much to say, but, it's hard with, social media and, it's just sometimes hard to actually say it, to actually have a talk with someone.
Trying to bring it out of you.
Yeah, no, you did a great job. I actually can't believe how quickly this interview flew by.
92 minutes.
I can't believe it.
92 minutes.
When you said 75 minutes or something, I was like, what? I thought it's been like 30.
Clay Singletary says you're an amazing guy. Hudson Harris, yes. Eli, yes.
Wow.
Michael Kislick says that song was freaking awesome.
Thank you so much.
Like and share the
can't believe
feed.
this.
7 channels across the I Love CVille network. This is the only in the state of Virginia, in the Commonwealth. Excuse me, it's a Commonwealth. This is the only live Monday through Friday show that's being done in this format across social media. And it's so hard, dude.
Well, it's awesome.
Like, it's so
It's
hard
awesome. It's
to create compelling content every single day. It's
it is.
not easy.
For sure. That's what, a lot of people, myself included, when I was out in LA, it's like, oh, I'm going to, start working on YouTube. If you want to actually make it on YouTube, it's a daily.
It's a grind.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
Full-time YouTubers work all the time. It's 24/7, and I feel like a lot of people think that the whole music thing is literally just sitting around all day and then you go play a show. But there's so much.
Right, to find the inspiration and the
so
influence.
much.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And that's why I'm going to give Harris Tolber props, Judah Wickower
thank you so
props,
much,
Lauren Linsky props for joining us on the show. They're the team behind the program.
Can't stop smiling.
We have the easy job. We're ourselves. The team makes the show possible. Thank you.
Man, thank you so much for
Seriously.
inviting me on. I'm glad. Again, I didn't even know going into yesterday that this was even going to happen.
I know.
I got the email. It was like, we have an opening. You want to come on? It's like, oh yeah, man.
And I want to give you props because you were willing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about being a solo artist is that I'm good last minute. I can take my guitar and go and throw down at any time, any place.
Where can we find you performing live music?
Well, I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be at the Tin Whistle in Charlottesville this coming up Tuesday. I'll play, I think, 2 songs there, but you can stop by and say hi. I have a show after South by Southwest, like Harris said, that's a big springboard. So I'm working on a lot of booking right now. So more news on that. But on my website, if you go to eliraybon.com, you can find all of my shows. I have one coming up in West Virginia.
That's
at
awesome.
A place in Fayetteville, West Virginia, at a venue called The Grove. And I'm doing a joint show with Craig, the robot artist that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to be dressed up as a mad scientist playing all my sci-fi songs with synthesizers and drum machines. He's going to have his art on display. It's going to be a really interesting show. So if you're in West Virginia, I believe it's still a few months out. It's like early July or something. But if you're in the Fayetteville, West Virginia area, which who knows, there seems to be people from all over watching this. But yeah, we're going to be doing a really cool show. And like I said, lots more is coming soon. I'm working on it right now. And as far as where you can find my music, just Google me and you'll find it. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, all the usual platforms.
I'm gonna encourage you, and I'm gonna try to light a fire under your tail. And this is what I'm gonna say to you: you need to do more live streams.
I agree. I've actually been
you excel in this storyteller format, dude.
I know. That's why I've always
do more.
This is literally fulfilling a dream right now. I've been. Because I tend to watch a lot of that content on YouTube. I like the podcast. I like the long form interview sort of thing.
Everybody does.
It's great, and
yeah, because you get to know the person.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really where you can, let people get to know you. And so I'm glad that that this platform is available.
When people can see the artist and get to know the artist and hear the artist and have the artist showcase his vulnerabilities musically and lyrically, and then when the song is over, have the artist describe and depict and put into perspective the vulnerabilities that he she just sung and wrote about, that takes the music to a different level.
It does. It puts it in a
context.
context.
It reminds me of where I first really saw it, and it was like, and this is gonna date me. and you may not even know. He does, Harris, because we've talked about this randomly. When I saw Kurt Cobain and Dave Grohl and Nirvana do the iconic Unplugged session on MTV, when he's doing this acoustic session where he's wearing the cardigan, the sweater, and I'm like, this guy, and I was incredibly impressionable at the time. I mean, I was in my teens, and I'm like watching Kurt, and R.I.P. Kurt Cobain. Okay, he had some dark demons. Yeah. Lead singer Nirvana ended up committing suicide. Married to Courtney Love, tremendously involved in heroin and other drugs that he shouldn't be. Ended up being his demise. Okay, when he was doing this Unplugged session and showing his vulnerabilities and being like, "This is who I am. I'm going to do this in front of a national audience, in front of a live audience, and I'm just going to be real." And I'm just going to showcase this emotion and see it on my face and wear it on my sleeve. I was like, it like made a connection with me that I'm talking about it now. I mean, that's like music at its like best. And that's why I think you, in this storyteller live format where you can be yourself, I mean, I think you can crush it. Harris Tolber, I know you have something to say about something.
Yeah.
Say it.
I think that my biggest takeaway is I want to see Eli Raybon in full effect, like electronic, like
it is. It's one of my, I think, maybe strengths, because a lot of electronic musicians couldn't take an acoustic guitar and do something like this. But for me, I come from a very song-focused background. Like, so the arrangements, the lyrics, the song structure, that's all acoustic guitar. So I literally start everything usually on acoustic guitar, and then, you know, when I'm writing stuff like Empathy Test or Battery Brain, to me that makes the most sense to present it with synthesizers and drum machines, and because it has that sci-fi retro futuristic sound. But at the core, you know, everything I do is built around the songs, and so I'm glad that I can.
I love that songwriting process of like taking it from the guitar and then just making it into this whole electronic synthesized like song.
It's entirely
different, but
makes it even more dynamic.
Exactly,
it does, and it's actually a scary process. Songwriting for me is the part of the process that it never feels like work, is the easiest thing for me.
Wow, that's rare.
The recording and the production is where I start to struggle, and I'm pretty slow, because I really do treat the songs as children. And it's scary how far you can push that metaphor.
I love that.
And, you know, it's literally, it's like, okay, so songs are children of the mind.
Yeah.
They're conceived in the brain, and they're born on the guitar or whatever. So then you have the song, and then you have to raise it. So you have to produce it. And, you know, as a quote-unquote parent, you're trying to give the song/child everything you can so that it can go out into the real world and stand on its own and succeed.
Help it mature.
Yeah.
Empower the child.
Right. And the thing is, it's going to fight you. It's going to fight you. You know, just like children's songs don't always want to do what you want them to do when you're trying to record them.
Look at you. That's
they're
metaphorical,
gonna
baby.
Fight. It is. It's scary how far you can push that metaphor.
And you have to let the song, like, be itself. Like
exactly. The song has to find its own. It's really bizarre, but I think that metaphor is by far the best way to describe it.
This interview exceeded my expectations. Like, Harris Tolber, props to you. Props to you for coming in on short notice. We had, and he's watching now. Leslie Gourday's watching now. He's in a jazz trio. So we try to showcase music of all different kinds of genres.
Yeah, I've noticed. I think you guys do a great job.
He's going to join us next Friday. There was a little bit of date confusion.
Okay.
And we reached out to Eli Raybon. And I'm going to say, and we've had some good folks on here, I'm going to say one of the best we have done, and I'm grateful.
Wow.
So this is what you can expect from us. We will bundle all your songs as individual sizzle reels, send them your way. We took behind-the-scenes photography. We can send it your way. You can leverage it anywhere you want on social media, leverage it any way you want on Instagram, your website, whatever you want to do. What we try to do is give our guests content that they can then leverage on their behalf to promote their brand, to get their mission out there, their message out there, whatever it may be.
Thank you.
I thank you. Harris, we'll close the program down like we always do.
Awesome.
I enjoy it. Check out Eli Raybon. EliRaybon.com.
EliRaybon.com.
EliRaybon.com. RAYBON.
That's it.
EliRaybon.com. My name is Jerry Miller. He's Harris Tolbert, Judah Wickower, and Laura Linsky make this program possible. We close the show the same way every time. Give more than you take, guys. I think you saw that from Eli Raybon. You give more than you take, and you make this ecosystem that we call life and the world a better place. And you're going to probably win in the end. And I'm speaking about this from firsthand perspective as a social entrepreneur who prides himself in leaving his home and his community and the Commonwealth and whatever this world we call in a better place. Give more than you take. And the second thing we always try to close on is the golden rule. And it's just about treating people like you want to be treated yourself. Imagine if we walked around this world, in our country, in our state, in our city, in our home, in our actual house, and we treated everybody that was around us in a way that we wanted to be treated ourselves. I mean, think about how amazing and improved the world would be if we embodied this mindset. We need that. We need that in Charlottesville. We need that everywhere. Give more than you take and treat people with the respect you want to be treated yourself. My name is Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille Show. I am back on Monday with the entrepreneurs and the family behind King Family Vineyards in Crozet. We're going to tell their birth story and their entrepreneurial journey. On Tuesday, Brian Pinkston, who's running for Charlottesville City Council, will join us. We'll put his platform in perspective. It's the I Love CVille Show. Enjoy your weekend. Dude, you killed it.
Man, thank you so much.
Seriously, you killed it.